neighbors, Tony here. In this video I explain how I leveled my 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland with Quadra-Lift Air Suspension. Overall, I love the Jeep. I bought it about 4 months ago and have enjoyed it. Have very few complaints, but the one thing that I did not like about it, and I really didn't notice it when I bought it, is the rake of the vehicle, as it's sometimes called. In other words, the disparity between the gap in the front, between the wheel well trim and the tire, and the gap in the rear. And I know this is common in trucks and SUVs. You'll see a difference between the front and the rear, but I don't like it. And the more I saw it in the vehicle, the more it annoyed me. And so I got online, looked around, and could not find a video explaining how one goes about adjusting or leveling a Jeep with the Quadra-Lift Air Suspension. I did find a very helpful blog entry, and I want to give credit to the guy who wrote it. I'll put it in the description of this video. In it, he explains quite well the hardware, the material you'll need, the tools, and how to go about changing the factory air links. Try to get a good shot of this. Unfortunately, the sun is not out today. It's quite overcast, but there. So that is the custom air link. Later in this video, I give details on how you arrive at that, but that's it. That's the finished product. So I've removed the factory air links and installed a adjustable or custom air link on each side. You can see here quite well how the difference between the front and the rear is gone. So what I do in this video is I take the forum entry and put it into a video form, where the information that's in that forum hopefully is in a much more understandable presentation so that you can make this change to your Jeep yourself. The project is really quite simple. The first thing you'll want to do is turn on the vehicle's jack mode. You do not need to remove any of the tires. The second thing is you'll remove the air links. In my case, I just took the two front factory ones off. The third step is to identify the correct length of your new custom air link. And that's definitely the most time-consuming part of the project. It took me probably about 7 or 8 installations and removals in order to find the perfect length of that rod. So once I found that perfect length, I installed the custom air links, snapped them onto the balls, and then I drove the vehicle around for a while. Let the vehicle fine-tune where its ride point's going to be with these new links. And then once you're happy with that, you'll want to be sure to reinstall the clips that are part of the elbow or ball joints. On the right is the factory air ride link, or air link. On the driver's side of the vehicle, you can see I've removed the factory air link. Notice the sensor, the location sensor for the air ride suspension has fallen right here. And then here's the ball connected to the vehicle at the top. And on the left are the parts that you'll use to make the adjustable air link. Got a piece of all thread and 2 elbow joints per side. The all thread is 5 millimeter and it has a 0.8 millimeter lead, I believe, or pitch in this case, same thing since there's only one thread start. And these are the very well made German elbow joints, they're called. They each come with a little retaining clip installed, and they also have a jam nut that comes with them and a ball that's installed. But you can discard the ball since obviously you're going to be connecting these 2 elbow joints to the upper and lower balls on each side in your vehicle. Total cost of each air link that you make will be about 16 bucks. I got a 36-inch piece of this, or perhaps a meter, from a local hardware store for about $3. You can buy it through Grainger for probably $8 to $10. They'll ship it to you. Of course, you'll pay for shipping. And then each of these, like I said, are $7.50. So 15, 16, or 17 for that little stick there. Much cheaper than the other way of buying an adjustable air link, which some of you guys are probably already aware of. You can go to adjustableairride.com and you can buy all of these pieces already made, or you can take a day and make them yourself. At least for my vehicle, I cut the piece of all thread exactly 2.91 inches long. And yes, I measured that with a digital caliper. Yours may need to be a little longer or a little shorter, and I cut it to that length because I wanted the elbow joints, the threads of the elbow joints, to be centered on this thread. In other words, I'd like the end of this to be in the middle of the female thread of the elbow joints, so that I can adjust the length to fine-tune the height of the vehicle and still have plenty of engagement of that piece of all thread in this female thread. You'll find that the attachment strength of the new adjustable link that you make will be better than the factory link. The inside of this thermoplastic end, there's an elastomer, and it seemed to me much easier to pull this off and put it back on than to put the other one on. So once you install the adjustable one, I don't think you need to be concerned about it coming off. The grip at the top and bottom of the link to the sensor and then to this part of the vehicle is quite strong, but as I said earlier, you want to make sure that the little clips that come with the elbow joints are installed. So after you snap the elbow joint onto the sensor ball, as well as the ball at the top, you want to ensure that you've also installed the little clips. Due to manufacturing tolerances, the length of this new custom adjustable air link may need to be slightly different than that which I arrived at for my vehicle. So you'll probably need to install this thing several times and take it off several times in order to identify that perfect length that you're wanting. So to make that a little easier, each time I sprayed some of this heavy-duty silicone inside the elbow joint socket here, so that made it easier to remove and install. You'll notice that the ball that's attached to the sensor, I believe, is metal, but the little piece of plastic that connects the sensor to the ball, it's just that, it's plastic. So you'll need to be careful when you're taking this and installing it and removing it. As far as tools that you'll need, very simple: 8mm wrench, a pair of pliers, a long, skinny, preferably flathead screwdriver, and if you have it, a bench vise. It always makes life a lot easier. And then if you don't already have a digital caliper, I recommend you get one. After you've identified what length you want for your vehicle, you'll then want to tighten each of these jam nuts, so-called jam nuts, into the elbow joint. And it doesn't require much torque. This adjustable link I've been running for about 6 weeks, and I took it off-roading. I went mudding in my Jeep, and there was, as far as I could tell, no loss in makeup torque that I had applied to these little jam nuts against the elbow joint. So again, no need to white knuckle tight these things, just cinch them down a little bit and they should be fine. You'll find that the sensors on the vehicle are very sensitive. A very small adjustment in the length of these things makes a significant change in the ride height. As an example, for about 6 weeks, I've been running these at a length of 4.50 inches. That's from the outside of each of these joints. Well, I discovered that the distance from the wheel well to the tire was a hair greater than it was in the rear. So wanting to level the vehicle, wanting to equal, I have increased the length of this rod 30,000ths of an inch, which will decrease that gap or make it ride a little bit lower. Gap being the gap between the wheel well and the top of the tire. In 30,000ths of an inch, the difference between the length originally and the new length, 4.53 minus 4.50, that is, I believe, the finest adjustment you can make to these, given the lead or the pitch of this thread of about 30,000ths of an inch. If you were Superman and had X-ray vision and could see through each of these elbow joints, what you would find is that the end of the piece of all thread is situated about halfway between the start of the female thread and the end of the female thread inside of it on each end. So as you build this little thing, you want to thread them all the way on, at least this is what I did, and then unthread each of them one turn, this end, then this end, this end, then this end, and hopefully you end up with a length where you've moved the position of the elbow joint with respect to this rod the same distance on each end. But if you didn't and one of these is one thread less or more engagement, then no worries. The easiest way that I've found to adjust and tighten those jam nuts while simultaneously making sure that this plane of the elbow joint is coplanar with that same surface of the other elbow joint is by using this handy dandy vise. In other words, your third arm or third hand is that vise. So once you lock in one of them, you can tighten this one, hold this in with a pair of pliers, and tighten this one. And again, not too tight. There's the factory links, and there's your custom air links. I recommend you get the digital calipers. If you're an OCD kind of guy like I am, you'll appreciate them. Those sensors are very sensitive, and so these links, according to my calipers, are within 1,000th of an inch. So that way, you've done the best that you can do to ensure that the left and right side of your vehicle, the passenger and driver's side, will be even. The author of the forum entry rightly pointed out, after you level your vehicle, the height of the headlights will obviously be greater than the factory height. So unless you like having people shine their high beams at you when you're driving at night, you'll want to adjust your headlights. It's a very easy thing to do. Just pop your hood and then you'll see a cutout in the plastic on each side. This is the passenger side. And then down inside you will notice an entry point for a long screwdriver, which you'll definitely need, a Phillips, or perhaps a flathead. I used a Phillips, and I probably won't focus down in there, but you simply turn it one way, it raises the headlight, you turn it another way, and it lowers it. Opinion, the vehicle looks so much better when it is level. I will never accept the rationale behind design engineers at Chevy, Dodge, whatever company, when they have these huge differences between the gap in the front and the gap in the rear. It just looks weird. I made the change about 6 weeks ago, and I can tell you the change in the ride is negligible. I really couldn't notice any difference in handling, in comfort. Dudes and dudettes, if you benefited from this video, please give it a like down below and subscribe to my channel.